Can you imagine being accused of poisoning your own sister, all because of a twisted lie born from jealousy? My heart was still shattered from losing my baby, but what she didn't know was that a silent witness had captured everything, and its shocking reveal would make my own parents' faces go absolutely ghost white. 8 months ago, my world imploded. My husband, Aaron, and I had just discovered we were expecting, and it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, everything was bursting with hope and possibility. We were ecstatic. We spent hours dreaming about what our baby would be like, who they'd become, the parents we'd be. Aaron was my rock, and knowing we were on this beautiful journey together made everything feel right. We even started painting the nursery, picking out the softest colors, debating cribs, buying piles of first-time parent books. It was a joyful, anxious, wonderful time. Then, one terrifying night, everything changed. I woke up with this chilling dread, a feeling deep in my gut that something was horribly wrong. My heart hammered as I rushed to the bathroom, and then the blood. My world shattered. I just started sobbing, a raw, animal sound I didn't even recognize as my own. Aaron rushed in, his face etched with confusion that quickly turned to fear. He swept me up, and we raced to the hospital. The drive felt like an eternity, every second an agonizing stretch of hope and terror. When the doctor finally delivered the news, it was like a physical blow. I had lost the baby. The words echoed in my head, a punch to the gut that left me breathless. Shock, disbelief, an unbearable sense of loss. It was traumatic, truly. I still don't know how Aaron stayed so strong, because I was utterly, completely broken. For weeks, I couldn't function. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. The world went dark, and I was trapped in this suffocating fog of grief. I took 2 weeks off work, just to fall apart completely. Those days were a blur of tears, a heavy blanket of sadness pressing me down. Getting out of bed felt like a cruel joke. Every morning, for a split second, I'd forget, and then reality would crash down. Our baby was gone. All I wanted was to sleep, because sleep was the only escape from the pain. My family, bless them, they tried. They rallied around me. My parents, my sister, they checked in daily, called, texted. Cousins brought food. But it was like I was numb. Their kindness was a distant comfort, but nothing, and I mean nothing, could chase away the sadness. Through it all, Aaron was my anchor. He just knew what I needed. He didn't push me to talk or pretend to be okay. He was patient. He'd bring me food, even when I couldn't touch it. He'd just sit with me in silence, holding my hand, when words felt impossible. If it weren't for him, I don't think I would have made it. He kept whispering that we wouldn't give up, that we'd try again when I was ready. His faith, his optimism, it was the only light that kept me from sinking into complete despair. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, I started to heal. I went back to work, mostly for the distraction, something to pull me out of the endless loop of grief. But in the quiet moments, the sadness still ambushed me. I needed more than distraction. I needed connection. So, I joined online groups for women who'd gone through miscarriages. Reading their stories, realizing I wasn't alone, that my feelings were normal, that others had survived this unbearable loss, it was a lifeline. I started sharing my own story, and somehow, it helped me start to make sense of everything. I'm still grieving. I think a part of me always will. But I've reached a place where I no longer constantly blame myself. That took so much work. I used to question everything, wonder if it was my fault, if I did something wrong. Now, I truly believe some things are just beyond our control. What's meant to be, will be. It's brought me a strange peace. I'm proud of how far I've come. But then, just last week, something happened that completely undid so much of that hard-won healing. My sister Maggie's baby shower. Maggie found out she was pregnant about 2 months ago. She announced it to the whole family immediately. But not to me. I found out through a cousin. I was so caught off guard. Not because I wasn't happy for her. I was. But Maggie and I had always been close. She'd been there for me during my miscarriage. So, yeah, I was a little hurt. When I finally talked to her, I tried to keep my emotions in check. She explained she didn't want to upset me, knowing I was still grieving.
She thought she was protecting me.
I reassured her. Maggie, no matter what I'm going through, I will always be happy for you. Don't ever feel like you can't share your joy with me. I told her that despite my sadness, I would love her baby just as much. I wanted to be an aunt. She seemed relieved, promised to keep me updated. I thought we were good. And I really did try to support her, especially since she's going through this pregnancy alone. She's divorcing Tyler, her husband. That was another shocker. Tyler was a good guy. They seemed so happy. When Maggie announced the split, it was vague, irreconcilable differences. I felt like there was a huge missing piece, but she didn't want to talk about it. So I just tried to be there, going with her to ultrasounds and doctor's appointments. Tyler was even hosting the baby shower at his new place, with a nice big backyard. Maggie and Tyler were supposedly still cordial. Before the shower, Maggie, my mom, cousins, and I went for lunch to plan. My cousins immediately gave me big hugs, comforting me about my miscarriage. Even months later, they understood grief doesn't just vanish. They even said how brave and selfless I was to be there for Maggie. But then Maggie's demeanor shifted. Her eyes narrowed. "Can we just stop with the heavy topics?" she snapped, rolling her eyes. "We all need to move on." Her words stung. I didn't like talking about it either, but her reaction felt cold. I figured she was stressed. Later, dropping her off, she actually joked that I was always stealing her spotlight since my miscarriage. She asked, half seriously, if I planned to do the same at her shower. I was floored. "What do you mean, stealing your spotlight?" I asked. She said people were more concerned about me, not her, and she felt brushed aside. She didn't want that on her day. I immediately felt terrible. I apologized, promised her I'd make sure it didn't happen. I didn't want to overshadow her ever. She just shook her head in disdain, and the conversation ended awkwardly. The baby shower was 3 days ago. I did everything I could to keep the focus on Maggie. This was her day. But still, throughout the event, people came up, hugged me, gave me sympathetic pats. I know they meant well. But with every gesture, I could feel Maggie's eyes on me. That growing irritation. I just wanted to disappear.
I even saw Tyler.
He seemed genuinely happy to see me, apologized for not being there for me after everything. He looked different.
Thinner.
A hint of sadness in his eyes. He was struggling too. Aaron, my husband, was there, grilling and chatting with the other guys. Then came the gifts. Everyone had such thoughtful presents. My cousin crocheted a blanket. My dad got a rocker. My mom, a fancy stroller. For my gift, I'd brought some parenting books and a baby shawl. This wasn't just any shawl. It was the first thing I bought when I found out I was pregnant. I saw it in Istanbul, a beautiful, delicate weave. I pictured my baby wrapped in it. After the miscarriage, it became bittersweet, tied to my happiest memories and my deepest heartbreak. I couldn't throw it away. I wanted it to have a purpose, a new life. I thought giving it to Maggie, for her baby, would bring both of us some peace. It was filled with love, with hope. But when Maggie opened it, she froze. Her face twisted from surprise to pure anger. She stared at it like it was tainted. "Why did you bring this?" she spat out. I was confused, stammered, tried to explain how special it was. Everyone else was admiring its beauty, but Maggie didn't care. Her face grew redder. Then, to my horror, she started accusing me of trying to curse her baby with my gift. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Before she could answer, my own mother piped up, saying it was inappropriate to give Maggie something meant for my dead baby. That it wasn't right to pass something linked to loss to a new life. My heart shattered all over again. I never meant to offend. I genuinely thought it was a gesture of love. I quietly took the shawl back, apologizing, trying desperately to keep my composure. But Maggie wasn't done. She doubled down. "Just because you lost your baby doesn't mean you can give those things to mine as hand-me-downs," she sneered. "My baby deserves better than that." Her words were like daggers. I was on the verge of tears, humiliated. That's when Aaron stepped in. Calm but firm. He looked Maggie dead in the eye. He told her my intentions were never to hurt her, that I was simply trying to find healing and show my love. He pointed out that if she didn't like the gift, she could have talked to me privately, not insult me in front of everyone. There was no excuse for her public humiliation. Maggie was stunned.
The tension was thick.
My cousin, bless her, chimed in, urging Maggie to drop it. I offered to order something new, anything, but Maggie just scoffed. Her anger felt so disproportionate. I felt sick, overwhelmed by guilt and confusion. Thankfully, the focus shifted when my mom opened another gift. But I couldn't shake the heaviness. Later, as everyone was getting food, I decided to try again. I went to the kitchen, made a plate of her favorite mashed potatoes and chicken, just how she liked it. "I'm really sorry, Maggie," I said, offering her the plate, hoping she could see my sincerity. She barely acknowledged me, just snatched the plate without a word. Rejected, I went to sit beside Aaron, needing his comfort. We were quietly eating when suddenly, Maggie started coughing. Violently. Over and over. Everyone turned. Her face was red, swollen. She was struggling to breathe. Panic surged through me. Something was seriously wrong. I rushed to her side while my mom called 911. Paramedics. Hospital. It was chaos. Aaron, my parents, Tyler, and I raced to be with her. At the hospital, the doctors confirmed it. A severe allergic reaction. Maggie is allergic to lobster. There had been some at the barbecue, but Tyler had sworn he was careful. I knew I'd only given her mashed potatoes and chicken. No lobster. So what happened? When Maggie finally recovered enough to speak, she looked right at me. "She poisoned me," she rasped, pointing a shaky finger. "She put something in my food after I insulted her." I was completely baffled. Poison her? How could she even think that? I argued, pleaded. "I would never hurt you or your baby."
But she refused to believe me.
In a fit of rage, she screamed at me to get out of her room. Aaron and I, stunned, left. Since that day, everything has spiraled out of control. My parents, without a shred of doubt, sided with Maggie. They blamed me entirely, saying I endangered her and the baby. Other family members chimed in, accusing me of being jealous of Maggie's pregnancy, letting that jealousy cloud my judgment. It was absurd. My only fault was giving her that plate of food. I swear, no lobster. Yet I was the villain. I felt so guilty, even though I knew I'd done nothing wrong. My parents pushed me to apologize, told me I was stressing Maggie out. "If you don't apologize," they said, "since you're clearly the reason she was poisoned." I refused. Absolutely not. This refusal led Maggie to publicly accuse me on social media. She claimed I was trying to overshadow her, that my jealousy drove me to this. I was mortified. That's when Tyler stepped in, inviting everyone to a sit-down at his place. He said we needed to fix this before the baby arrived. My parents urged me to go. Aaron and I were hesitant, but we went. So, Aaron and I, along with my parents, reluctantly joined Maggie and Tyler. Maggie, predictably, immediately demanded I apologize, publicly admit I had poisoned her. I scoffed, ready to deny it again, when Tyler stood up. "Actually," he said, "I have something to show all of you." It turned out Tyler had security cameras everywhere. He pulled up the footage from the baby shower. And what we saw, it was unbelievable. The video showed me giving Maggie her plate of food, just as I described. No lobster.
She was eating, chatting.
But then she started looking around, asking for sauce. My cousin, who was eating lobster, offered Maggie some sauce from her plate. And Maggie, foolishly, dipped her chicken right into it. Moments later, the coughing started. Her allergic reaction, crystal clear, triggered by that sauce. As the video played, my parents' faces went from angry accusation to a stunned, ghastly white.
They saw it.
They saw that Maggie had been blaming me for something she did to herself, and they had bought every word. Maggie tried to argue, fumbling. "There's no guarantee," she insisted. "Maybe she mixed something in earlier." But it was too late. Thanks to Tyler, my parents didn't believe her anymore. I finally snapped. I yelled at Maggie for publicly defaming me. Aaron stepped forward, threatening to use the footage and sue her for false accusations if she didn't take down her social media post immediately. My parents, looking utterly regretful, turned to me, their eyes filled with sympathy. They apologized for accusing me, but I wasn't done. "You were so quick to support her," I pointed out. "If there hadn't been this evidence, you would have just kept supporting her lie." I looked at my mother. "You were one of the loudest voices blaming me. Are you going to go around and clarify the situation with everyone now?" She tried to brush it off, saying it didn't matter who was right, only that I was no longer implicated. I was furious. I told her that if she didn't take responsibility, if she didn't set the record straight, I couldn't have a real relationship with them. My parents just kept trying to de-escalate, without actually acknowledging their own accountability. Aaron and I left, but not before getting a copy of that video from Tyler and thanking him profusely. Maggie took down her post. My mother, though, still hasn't said a word to anyone, and I am so incredibly pissed. So I decided to give Maggie a taste of her own medicine. I posted Tyler's video online. I shared how both my sister and my parents had unfairly accused me, how Maggie, in her carelessness, had essentially poisoned herself. As you can imagine, it caused a stir. Family members who'd sided with Maggie called me, apologizing. Some are even mocking her now, furious that she endangered herself and then blamed me without proof. I plan to take the video down soon. The damage, as they say, is done. My parents have called me repeatedly, but I've been ignoring them. Aaron and I have decided low contact until they recognize their mistakes. Truly, what would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to expose someone close to you to get justice? Tell me what you think in the comments below. I really want to know.